This nickname is dividing Kenya. It's not just a joke, it's a political weapon, a cultural phenomenon, and it's exposing a massive generational rift in Kenyan politics. I'm talking about Riggy, the viral nickname for Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Some say it's genius branding, connecting a powerful politician to the youth. Others call it a desperate, embarrassing stunt that undermines the dignity of his office. Who's right? Is Riggy a masterstroke or a massive miscalculation? This is the deep dive. First, let's set the stage. To understand Riggy, you must understand the man and the moment. Rigathi Gachagua is Kenya's deputy president, William Ruto's second in command. A career politician and former district officer, he built his image as a tough, no-nonsense defender of his Mount Kenya region's interests. For decades, his public persona was formal, stern, even combative. Then came the 2022 election. The Ruto Gachagua ticket successfully branded itself as the hustler choice, targeting millions of frustrated, unemployed young Kenyans. They promised a bottom-up economic model. But after the victory, a challenge remained: how does a 58-year-old deputy president, part of the political establishment, maintain that connection with the youth? Enter the social media teams. The nickname Riggy didn't come from the streets. It was reportedly coined and pushed by his own digital strategists. It first gained serious traction in early 2023. The G is a clear nod to American hip-hop culture, invoking figures like rapper Eminem's alter ego, Slim Shady, or just the cool factor of a single initial. This wasn't an organic meme. This was a calculated rebrand. The central tension is clear: can a top-tier leader authentically adopt youth culture for political gain, or does it risk looking painfully out of touch? The stage was set for a national debate. Now, let's hear from Side A, the supporters, the team that says Riggy is a political masterstroke. Proponents argue this is modern politics 101. In a country where 75% of the population is under 35, you must speak their language. Literally. Supporters point to the undeniable social media metrics. Following the adoption of the nickname, engagement on the deputy president's official platforms reportedly surged. His tweets, or rather his ex-posts, started getting thousands more likes and retweets from younger audiences. They argue it breaks down barriers. It makes a figure from a traditionally distant, paternalistic political class seem accessible, relatable, even cool. His allies say it shows adaptability. Here's a key argument: it deflects from more serious criticism with humor and personality. When facing tough questions about economic policies or internal government disputes, a well-timed Riggy meme from his team can change the conversation. It's a distraction tool, yes, but an effective one. Proponents also point out that it creates a brand identity separate from President Ruto. It allows Gachagua to carve out his own unique digital space, building a personal following that could be crucial for his future political ambitions. They say, look, politics is about perception. If the youth perceive him as one of their own, or at least as someone who gets them, that's half the battle won. His communication team has leaned in fully, even releasing curated video content with more casual, conversational tones, directly embracing the Riggy persona. They argue it's not about demeaning the office, it's about modernizing it for the digital age. But wait, there's another side to this story, and it's loud. Let's go to side B, the critics and opponents. They see Riggy as a cringe-worthy, embarrassing spectacle. Critics argue it's the political equivalent of your dad trying to dance at a wedding. Painful to watch. They say it fundamentally undermines the gravity and dignity of the office of the deputy president. This isn't a social media influencer. This is the man a heartbeat away from the presidency. Opponents counter that this casual branding looks ridiculous when juxtaposed with the severe economic realities facing the very youth he's trying to woo. Talking about hustling with a cool nickname rings hollow, they say, when young people are struggling with high unemployment, skyrocketing prices for fuel and food, and a crushing tax burden. The nickname, to them, feels like an insult, a patronizing attempt to placate the youth with memes instead of substantive policies and jobs. Furthermore, skeptics point out a major backlash within his own traditional base. Older, more conservative voters in the Mount Kenya region, who value respect and formality, reportedly see Riggy as undignified. There are whispers that this rebrand could actually erode his core support, making him look lightweight and unserious. Political opponents have seized on this, using the nickname mockingly in speeches to paint the entire administration as lacking in substance. The most damning criticism? That it's a transparent, top-down manipulation. The youth can smell inauthenticity from a mile away. A nickname created by consultants in a boardroom will never have the credibility of one born organically from the streets. Critics ask, is this what the hustler promise came to? A deputy president focused on his social media alias while the country faces real crises? So who's right? Let's look at the evidence. Step back from the hot takes and examine the data and expert analysis. First, the digital footprint. Analytics from social media monitoring platforms show a clear spike in mentions and engagement for Riggy in early to mid 2023. However, experts note that much of the initial traffic was driven by news articles about the nickname and by coordinated posting from pro-government digital brigades, often called the digital soldiers. The organic, user-generated meme culture around it has been more mixed. Some authentic parody accounts and funny edits emerged, but many experts in political communication argue the campaign has struggled to move beyond a staged, managed phenomenon. Now, let's look at international comparisons. This isn't unique to Kenya. Politicians worldwide try to appear relatable. Think of New Zealand's former Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern doing casual Instagram lives, or US President Barack Obama's Between Two Ferns interview. The key difference, experts note, is authenticity and context. Those leaders integrated casual moments into a broader, consistent communication style. The risk for Gachagua, analysts suggest, is that Riggy feels like a jarring, separate persona from his otherwise formal and combative political style at rallies and official functions. This creates a dissonance that audiences sense. Furthermore, data from recent opinion polls, while not directly measuring the nickname's impact, show that the government's approval ratings among the youth have been volatile, heavily tied to economic conditions like the cost of living. The evidence suggests that while a social media strategy can increase visibility, it does little to shift deep-seated opinions driven by material conditions. In short, the data says you can't meme your way out of a jobs crisis. Now for the verdict, my analysis. The reality is more complex than just masterstroke or disaster. Riggy is a symptom of a much bigger story, the desperate scramble by traditional political structures to remain relevant in the digital age. It's a high-risk, high-reward tactic. What most people miss is that this isn't really about the youth liking him. It's about neutralizing their active opposition. By creating a viral topic, the political conversation becomes about the nickname itself. Is it cool or cringe? Rather than about policy failures or accountability. It's a classic tactic, change the narrative. The uncomfortable truth is that it has likely worked to a degree. It has kept Gachagua in the daily conversation, especially online, which for a deputy president is often a challenge. However, the long-term cost may be significant. By embracing a pop culture persona, he may be inadvertently lowering the public's perception of the office's stature, making it harder for him to be taken seriously in future high-stakes negotiations or during a national crisis. The nuance is this: in the attention economy, Riggy wins. In the credibility economy, it might be bankrupting him. This directly impacts ordinary Kenyans. How? It shapes the political culture you engage with every day. It means your leaders are investing immense resources and focus into managing online perception, often at the expense of substantive, on-the-ground communication about policies that affect your livelihood. For the young job seeker in Kibra or Eastleigh, seeing Riggy trend while they can't afford a meal is not just ironic, it's infuriating. It deepens the cynicism about politics being a game, a performance. What's next? Watch for one of two things. Either the persona will be fully integrated, with more casual policy announcements using this brand, attempting to directly sell economic measures through this lens. Or if the criticism from his base grows too loud, you'll see a slow, quiet phasing out of Riggy, replaced by a return to a more stern, elder statesman image. The choice will signal which audience, the digital youth or the traditional voter, the deputy president values more. We've laid out both sides, the strategic rebrand versus the dignified office. The connection play versus the cringe factor. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think? Drop a 1 in the comments if you believe Riggy is a smart political move for the digital age. Drop a 2 if you believe it's an embarrassing misstep that cheapens Kenyan politics. Let's get a debate going in the comments below. Share this with someone who needs to see both sides of this story. And for more deep dives into the stories shaping Kenya, subscribe to Kenya News Update today for more breaking news.